There's that Dutch boy haircut.
Not a Dutch boy haircut. The viewers from our last video said it was not.
Okay.
They were in a very loving way telling you, you don't know what you're talking about. Okay.
First question. My question is, do you guys ever get holes in your t-shirts? Like, I don't know if you could see this or not, but like right here, you probably can't see it, right there. I get holes in my shirts, usually my t-shirts that I wear, and I don't know why, or tank tops, I should say. I don't know why. Is it from the button? What is it from? Can somebody please tell me that? Because inquiring minds want to know. This is happening numerous times. Does it happen to you?
No, it does not, but then I'm not doing weird stuff in my t-shirts either, apparently.
I'm not doing anything weird.
Oh, please.
Anyhow, that's a question I'm throwing out there. Please leave a comment down below. Does that ever happen to anybody? I want to know. It's just a little tiny hole. And it's like always in the same spot. I don't get it. And this is my spirulina, and this is my vitamin D.
Okay. Now that you've given them your vitamin regimen,
That's not even all of it.
Suzanne Summers,
That's just part of it.
we are going to actually talk about some more places that we've been to that we think would make for good places for expats to live. The difference this time, though, is that there aren't really expat communities associated with these places.
Yeah, like we talked about last time, those are more known as expat communities. These are not.
These are not, but still beautiful and interesting places to live.
Yeah, and again, we're just taking it off of our experience, so I'm sure there's a whole wide range of experiences out there just from us.
Yep.
So we're gonna start from A through Z.
And why is that? Because Paulette has difficulty picking up the alphabet in the middle.
Not true.
Very, very true.
All right, first topic we're gonna talk about
Is Aguascalientes. Now we visited there, I think it's been, I don't know, maybe like 3 years by now. But Aguascalientes was beautiful. It was very flat, easily walkable, beautiful centro histórico, I thought.
Yeah, I thought so too. And let me just say one thing here too. Because we've been to all these places, if you look in our videos, you'll see that we go into more depth about each of these places.
Yeah, we're not talking about places we've never been because.
Right, but I'm just saying that there's videos out there too.
Yep.
Okay, so Aguascalientes, what would we say? Was that like the main square area, what you would call it? Was that historical where we walked around? And it was lovely. It really was nice. In fact, I told Mark there for a while that I would have moved there if I didn't move to San Luis Potosi. That's what I told him, that I probably would have picked Aguascalientes. I thought it was a great place. Like Mark said, easy walking, very nice. You know, a lot of like outdoor area, like a big outside cafe area where you could grab a beer or food, an appetizer, whatever you want. It made me think of it like a what do you call it? I can't think of the right word.
Do you need a moment to collect your thought?
Well, I'm trying to say like Broadway, but that's not the word. Like, you know, like places like where they, like, I don't know how to describe it.
Okay.
Anyhow, it's really nice. I'm thinking like of places like Santa Cruz or something like that, like the boardwalk or whatever. That's, I guess, what I'm trying to think of. Except like how there's a lot of outside restaurants and things like that.
There are, however, not really like Santa Cruz because there's no beach in Aguascalientes.
Well, there's no beach.
But there are a lot of outdoor activities, outdoor things to do there. There's a huge open area there that I think that they hold festivals in. There's a bullfighting ring there, which didn't appeal to either Paulette or myself, but for some people it does.
Don't kill the bulls.
So, all right.
It's cruel. Hate it. Anyhow, we thought it was a really nice place. I thought the streets were pretty wide. A lot of pedestrian walking. I think it's a place that is not high on the expat radar, but I think it's a really nice place to consider.
Yeah, exactly. You know, it's funny, the older we get, the more we think about things like walkability and stuff like that.
Oh my gosh, yesterday our walk, that was a long walk. We walked so long yesterday that our dogs had to stop and they were panting.
Yeah.
It was hot.
Yeah.
But that was because I thought I maybe put my cell phone on top of my car and it might have fallen off when I was driving around a corner or something.
Instead, that cell phone was about 1 foot outside of our front door underneath some blankets for some reason.
For the dogs. I must have laid it down, but thank God you found it.
Yeah.
That was
right. That was all me on
an
that
answered prayer for sure. And God.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's Aguascalientes. We've only been there once, but we really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Yeah, really liked it. I'd say check out some videos on it, see what you guys think. Like I said, we've got videos on all of these from visiting if you want to go back on our videos and history. Next one in line is Cuernavaca.
Cuernavaca. Now, Cuernavaca, it's another one, it's a hilly place. You're going to be walking uphill or downhill in Cuernavaca. It is very beautiful though. Paulette remarked that walking through the streets of Cuernavaca kind of reminded her of like Portugal in some ways, just the streets there.
Or Spain.
And the buildings and how they were.
It was really nice. There's some really nice areas that that you can walk on that are obviously street walkable, wide enough. Very nice. But yeah, I mean, if you want to get to like the center part, you've got to go kind of uphill to take the buses and things like that. So that's why we're saying like uphill or downhill.
Yeah.
And other areas that we visited, that Enchanted Garden.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
That was a hotel, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fabulous. But we didn't get a whole lot of views out of that. But that was what, 2 years ago or 3 years ago or something like that.
Yeah, that was one of our older videos.
Yeah. But, it's a place definitely worth visiting. I really liked the main square area. I liked the park. However, there's a lot of trees with a lot of birds, and I love the bird noises. But the benches usually sit right underneath the trees, and there's a lot of poop on them.
Yeah, I don't even know what color the benches were painted anymore because it was all white with layers and layers of bird poop.
Yeah, but I love the sound. Wasn't it just fantastic with the birds just chirping and going crazy? And, and I told Mark when we were there, I said, you know what? If we lived here, I would come to this park all the time in the morning.
And it was a small park. There must have been like 1,000 birds in there, making a lot of noise and pooping a lot apparently.
Yeah. Lots of bird poop. But it was a nice place.
Yeah.
In fact, we were considering possibly moving there. I think, what did we go there for, like a week or something?
5 days or
5 days or 7 days, something like that. When we lived in Morelia for that first year, we were scoping out other areas, and every place that we're telling you about that's on our list, we checked out, and if we liked it, we were going to make a second trip and then see what we thought on that second trip. Did our feelings change? Was the vibe still there? All that kind of stuff.
Right. So
next is
Durango, or as they say in the bus station, Durango, which is why we had trouble getting tickets in the first place, because we weren't pronouncing it in the way that they were used to. But we did get bus tickets to Durango.
And that was a long bus ride. That was about 8 hours, something like that. So Durango's really not an expat place that people think of. Our last video, we named places that are pretty much expat communities. Durango is not, but I was pleasantly surprised. Now, this was on Mark's list for quite a while.
Yeah.
He wanted to go to Durango. We knew where it was on the map, and it seemed like it was kind of a long distance. But again, we took the bus, so you know, buses are a little bit longer than driving too. Might have been maybe 5 hours if you drove it, but it was about 8.
Yeah, mostly because there were no direct lines from here to there. The bus that we wound up having to take made several stops along the way. So it wasn't a very direct route, but it got us there. But Durango was absolutely beautiful.
It was. I was pleasantly surprised, and we stayed in an Airbnb maybe 3 blocks from the center.
Yeah.
It was really nice. And Durango is known for having a bunch of like Hollywood
movies and a lot of westerns, and a lot of movies have been filmed there, or parts of a lot of movies have been filmed there. When I last looked it up, there had been something like 236 movies made, at least all or parts of these movies were filmed in Durango.
And one of the main walkway areas, we showed it in our Durango video, which was about 2 months old or something now. But they have the movie stars with their names and statues and things like that. Really nice area in Central, I thought.
Yeah.
It was really nice.
Yeah, it's not an expat haven, but it seems like it should be, you know.
Yeah, and it may be later on. Don't hate me, Linda and Jose, for saying this.
Yeah.
But you know, it's a great place to visit for sure. I mean, we'd probably go back again.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, definitely, we'd go back again.
Yeah, and the streets, like I said, it was really nice. The main walkway area down in Central, a lot of restaurants, a lot of shops, a lot of coffee shops.
Very flat, very walkable.
Yeah, very flat, very walkable. Really, really nice.
Yeah.
Like I said, I was pleasantly surprised.
Yeah.
It's a really nice place.
Yep.
So that's it for Durango. Next.
We are going to talk about the state of Hidalgo, not just in general. There are a lot of beautiful places to visit in Hidalgo. There's a mountainous region which was just fantastic, and we were in that. A lot of hiking, a lot of
Huasca de Ocampo.
Right, and a lot of camping, like Paulette said. There's a lot.
We did the glamping for one night.
Yeah, we're too old to be camping anymore, probably, but we have in the past. But
that was like
too.
what, 3 months ago?
Yeah.
No, 2 months ago. It was for my birthday, so it was just last month.
Yeah.
Time flies, right? I'm like 3 months ago, 2 months ago. No,
Right.
a month ago.
So, and I thought the country was just beautiful itself. You know, there's a lot of things, especially if you're like an outdoor person, there's a lot of stuff to do there.
Yeah.
The Prismas Ballisticos were amazing to visit and look at and just experience. But just walking around was pretty cool too. There were a lot of little towns there. There's the very first Pueblo Mágico is in Hidalgo.
What is it? Huasca de Ocampo? Or was it another place that was
Yeah,
near
it's
Huasca de Ocampo?
in that area.
Right. It's about, they're doing a lot of road construction, so I'd probably say it's like a 50 to a 60-minute drive from Pachuca, from the center of town, or the capital is Pachuca. So it's about, 50 to 60-minute drive. There was a lot of stop and go, a lot of construction going on, you know, but really worth visiting in the foothills.
Yeah.
I think it was really lovely.
Yeah.
And then we went to some other places that were around there. Oh gosh, Let's get that memory going, Paulette. What were some of those places called?
Tolantongo we went to.
Oh, Tolantongo. Gotta go.
That was amazing.
If you are in the state of Hidalgo, go.
Yeah.
Go.
It is just refreshing beyond belief there. And I also want to say, when we were in the mountains of Hidalgo, those were like the quietest mornings I have woken up to in Mexico.
No barking dogs.
Just sheer quiet. You could hear leaves rustle in the wind.
Yeah,
I mean, it was that
it
quiet.
was really nice.
Mhm.
We haven't had it that quiet in, I don't even know.
There was a pretty cool town, Real del Monte, that we visited, which
Yeah.
was it was outside of Pachuca, maybe 20 minutes or so.
A little bit, maybe half an hour,
Yeah.
something like that, in the foothills.
Right.
That was really cute too. As far as the capital, Pachuca, we weren't really all that impressed. The center square was nice, but once you kind of get out of it, I wasn't that impressed. It wasn't that big, for one thing, and I don't know, it didn't do it for me, but I'm telling you, if you go to Hidalgo, there are a lot of places to go to, like we were just saying.
Yeah.
That is really well worth the visit.
Yeah.
You know, and I would say if you go for, how long were we gone for? 10 days, maybe?
Yeah, in the state of Hidalgo, we were gone for, I think, 12 days.
Okay, something like that. So I would give it at least a week, or, you know, like 10 or 12 days, because that way you could stay a couple of days in each place.
Yeah.
Next.
Next up is Morelia, where we lived for 1 year.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Morelia, there is a little bit of an expat community there.
It is. Or there is.
Yeah. Morelia was beautiful, although it changed, I think, over the year or so that we were there a little bit.
But I also think San Luis, look at, there's more graffiti now when you go down the main boulevard here.
That's true.
Carranza, there's a lot of
Carranza.
boulevard.
Yeah.
A lot of graffiti that was never there before either. And I think that happened in Morelia just as well.
Yeah. But Morelia, architecturally, is a beautiful city. You know, the cathedrals and the main street, you know, Modero, all the buildings off there are beautiful, beautiful churches. Definitely worth checking out.
And it's pretty walkable. I'd say the sidewalks were pretty wide compared to a lot of other sidewalks in a lot of areas. Pretty wide there.
Yeah, that's true.
And there's also a Walgreens.
Yeah. And a Sears.
Walgreens.
And a Sears.
And a Sears, but there's Sears in Mexico.
Yeah.
There's a Sears here, there's a Sears there, and there's a lot of Sears. Sears is doing well in Mexico, not in the U.S., but in Mexico it's doing very well.
It does well.
And Walgreens, no, Woolworths.
Woolworths.
It was Woolworths. I haven't seen a Woolworths. Oh my gosh, I used to go to them all the time as a kid, like a big 5 and dime where you could eat. Shows how old I am. But Woolworths was there. That was it, Woolworths. So, yeah, I mean, Morelia is pretty flat, easy walkable. There is an area that we used to live off of where the aqueducts are.
Yeah.
I don't remember that name of that main street, do you?
Well, that was Nicolas I. Modero.
Was that the
was
name?
the name of the street,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, anyhow, it's a nice walkable area. There is a Walmart, there's a Home Depot, Costco,
Super Maxi,
Sam's, a lot of those big box market stores, which people like me like. I like them.
There's the Las Americas Mall, which is a pretty big modern mall. So you can find everything you need there, really, just about anywhere.
There's a zoo. What else?
Yeah.
Trying to think. Yeah, it's pretty flat, pretty walkable.
Right. There's an airport there. There's a bus terminal there.
Oh yeah, forgot about the airport.
Yeah. But, you know, I'll say
The
that
airport's about how far would you say?
it's a little ways out. Probably
50
45,
minute.
50 minute
Yeah,
drive,
50 to
yeah.
60 minutes
Yeah.
of a drive coming back in or leaving by the airport.
But there were some amazing markets there. The Mercado Independencia was there. It was a huge place,
There's a
although we
couple
heard
of
some of it
Mercados.
burned down. Mercado San Jose was one that we went to a few times. So,
We had some favorite restaurants that we used to eat at there too.
yeah.
I think you were
Chango.
gonna- you were going to count. Okay.
Well, yeah.
Chango.
There was Chango. There was I'm forgetting it.
Anatole. Anaho.
Anaho, right? Anaho. There
Anaho.
was Origo.
Arrigo. That was another one of our favorites.
That was very good at the end of the Calzada de Guadalupe, which is one of our favorite walkways.
And we weren't too far from there either. Where
Yeah.
we lived, we were probably 5-minute walk,
Yeah,
10-minute walk,
yeah, if
something
that.
like that. We weren't right in the center, but we had a pretty good location. Outside of our front door, we could catch the combis like every 15 minutes.
Yeah,
Combis are well and alive
yeah,
there. They were pretty well and alive in Cuernavaca too.
yeah, yeah. They were.
Aguascalientes, I can't say on that one. I don't remember. Durango,
They didn't really have much there.
I don't
either.
remember seeing a
But-
whole lot of combis there. Although, didn't we take one? Oh no, we took a bus.
Yeah,
The bus. Yeah, I don't think there was a lot of combis in Durango. I could be wrong, but I know that Mark and I took the bus.
yeah. But as far as public transportation, Morelia has amazing public transportation. You can.
Oh
a
no,
lot
I
of
think we took
combis.
the bus in Hidalgo, not
Yeah.
Durango. Or did we? No, we took taxis and Uber when we were in Durango.
And we did that tour in Durango where they took us to a bunch of different places too. So, next up,
Puebla.
Puebla again was beautiful and amazing.
How's our hurt? Oh, there's my little thingy right there.
Yeah,
Hope it didn't pick up on the mic. Puebla, very, very nice. Really, really liked it.
yeah.
Unfortunately, what is it near, honey?
A bunch of volcanoes.
Yeah, Cholula.
Cholula was another city.
Not too far from it at all.
Yeah.
Like what, a half an hour away or something, 35
Yeah.
minutes, something
Yeah.
like that. We took a Uber or whatever.
Yeah,
And bus terminal is nearby, which was nice. Airport, I'm not sure where the airport is. But really, really, the architect was fabulous.
Yeah.
It really had that French influence with the wrought iron balconies, and it
Yeah.
was just gorgeous.
there was more French influence there in Puebla than I've seen in any other city in Mexico.
Yeah, and they had that, like the smallest little volcano that
Yeah.
we went to one day.
It's in the middle of a schoolyard actually, but they let you in, and we had the senior discount card, so I can't recall if we got a discount or not.
No, we didn't
but,
get any discount there.
Well then,
Yeah, we didn't get any discount there.
so we climbed the 40 or 50 feet down into the volcano. They had not a spiral metal staircase,
Yeah.
but something close to it.
Well, it's one of those, isn't that spiral? Like went around like that. That's spiral to me.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. I forget how many steps I counted. I named it in that video. There was
Yeah.
a lot, like 150 or more.
Yeah.
Because I'm a step counter. I don't know why, but I count steps.
And although really that's technically not even a volcano either, it's just the result of volcanic activity in the different minerals building up at that point, but it's not actually a volcano.
We went underground, remember?
Yeah,
That was really cool too.
yeah, in the caves.
Yeah, they were like these underground passages. That was very cool.
Yeah, they were
That was
probably.
worth it. And we used our discount on that
Yeah.
one. I think it was, I don't know, it was really cheap, I know that.
So the underground caves were about a little more than a mile in length, and these caves or tunnels, well, actually were
Tunnels.
used to, they think by the Spanish forces to try to help expel the French that were occupying the area at the time. But the caves or the tunnels had existed before that as well. But they were just recently rediscovered only a few years ago.
True.
So,
Really worth seeing those
yeah.
underground
Tunnels.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. I loved it. I really loved it. Oh, we didn't rate anything. We'll go back and we'll
Yeah.
rate everything 1 to 10 because I'm a 1 to 10 kind of girl on a lot of things. Absolutely, absolutely loved it. The sidewalks aren't real wide, enough for maybe 1 or 2 people, but the central was fabulous. I absolutely loved it.
Yeah, that would be a place I think we would highly consider moving if in the unlikely event we were ever to move from San Luis, but the volcanoes would keep us away.
Volcanoes, not my friend.
So, next up, our home here in San Luis Potosi. Not a huge expat population by any means, and yeah.
You didn't hear that. We didn't mention San Luis Potosi.
So, but it basically stole our hearts. I mean, we visited here when we were going back to the United States, making one of the trips. We stayed a day here, and I thought, we got to go back and check that out more in depth. So we came back, we stayed longer here, just fell in love with the San Luis, and it was just a combination of a lot of things. It was the architecture.
We stayed more by Tequistapan Park area,
Yeah.
which was maybe a 15-minute walk
into
to Central Historical.
Yeah.
And man, did we love Central Historical. It's got one of the biggest pedestrian walk areas in Mexico, and it's fabulous. A lot of old churches, a lot of historical buildings. It's beautiful, but walking down or driving down the main strip, which is Carranza, we have noticed in the last couple of months there's been a lot more graffiti going on there, and
Yeah.
I hate it.
They're typically showing up on vacant buildings, the graffiti.
Yeah, just it might be showing up on more now.
Yeah.
I don't like it. They would do like on those roll-up garage doors a lot if it was vacant, or the vacant buildings, but I think now I'm just seeing it more.
Yeah.
I really, really hate it. It just takes away from the beauty. It just, I don't know, desecrates everything when I see that.
Yeah, you don't really see it in Centro Historical too much, but you do see it leading up to Centro Historical for sure.
Yeah.
Again, but the buildings in Centro Historical are just amazing, and their Baroque style architecture.
And San Luis Potosi, when you walk in the historical pedestrian area, it will remind you a lot of San Miguel de Allende, I think.
Yeah.
But we were just downtown today. We had to take care of some business. And, walking around, we're like, I'm so glad that we live here. We just absolutely love it.
Yeah.
It works for us. Does it work for everybody? Maybe not, but it's flat. It's very flat. Sidewalks in a lot of areas are pretty wide, especially down Carranza. You could get easily 4 or 5 people walking side by side on the sidewalk, and it's just lined with trees. It's gorgeous. But shh, nobody wants to move here.
She's whispering, don't worry. I'll have her back at the home tonight and things will be back to normal.
Well, I don't want people to move here,
We want them to come in and visit us.
I mean, it is a great place.
Yeah.
We moved Like we checked out Aguascalientes. Were we here already when we checked out Aguascalientes? Really?
No.
I think we lived in.
Oh, maybe we were.
We did.
All right.
Who needs to go to the home? Yeah. But
If I mention that you're the cause of most of my senior moments, just saying.
I'm not. Now you made me forget my train of thought.
Yeah.
But anyhow, when we lived in Morelia, we traveled around to see if there was other places that we really liked. Because we were in a year lease and we knew when that year lease was up, we would be going somewhere else. That's why we don't live in Morelia.
Right.
Because that was our starting destination.
Right.
And we knew that.
And we always knew that we were going to move on from there.
Yeah, we just didn't know we were going to buy a house so soon and settle down and call San Luis Potosi home.
Yeah. But,
So
you know,
that was a surprise, but a pleasant surprise because we really like it here.
yeah.
We really do. It really works for us.
Yeah.
And Morelia is about a 4-hour drive from where we live. Puebla is what,
8
8
hours.
hours, I
Yeah.
think. Hidalgo is about
Probably
8
again, 7 or
hours.
8 hours.
Durango was about
7 or
hours.
8.
Cuernavaca. Well, we were in Morelia then.
But I would still think Cuernavaca would probably be at least a 6-hour drive from here.
Yeah.
Aguascalientes about maybe a
2 hours.
2.5, 3 hours drive from San Luis Potosi.
Yeah.
However, we still have one more place to talk about.
Yeah, one more place to talk about, and that is Z for Zacatecas.
Zacatecas.
And right now they say that Zacatecas is not the
Not-
best place to go to right now because there's a lot of cartel stuff kind of going on. But we did go there and we stayed in the central. We always try to stay in the central
Yeah.
whenever we go to places. We like that. And then kind of venture out from there. Zacatecas was pretty nice. It was, I would say, a little
Yeah.
hilly.
I liked it. Kind of, in some way, reminded me a little bit of Guanajuato in terms of the hills and stuff. Beautiful, beautiful architecture there. Very, very old. That was also the location of that bullfighting, the old bullfighting ring that we went to that is
Oh
now
yeah, now a hotel or
hotel
something,
and restaurant.
huh?
Yeah, that was
That's
pretty
right.
cool to look at.
That's right, yeah. A lot of beautiful churches there. The center is very nice, lots of restaurants. I think there was a big outside mercado, if I
Yeah.
remember correctly.
Yeah.
Just about everywhere you go, there's going to be a
There's
mercado
a
or
big
2
outside
or 3.
mercado, yeah.
Yeah.
And
Zac-
a lot of them are named like 20 de Noviembre or something, or Mercado Independencia or something. A lot of times they name their mercados after important points in history in Mexico.
and Zacatecas from here is about what, 2 hours maybe?
2.5 hours, yeah.
Something like that. I know Zacatecas and Aguascalientes aren't too far. It's between 2 to 3 hours that I remember. I wanted to say Zacatecas was a little bit closer than
Yeah.
Aguascalientes.
Yeah.
And we drove
Yeah.
to these places. Not all these places, but we drove to Zacatecas, we drove to Aguascalientes, we took the bus to Cuernavaca, bus to Durango, bus to Hidalgo. Morelia, we live there. Puebla, the bus. So, okay, so let's go through
All right.
now, and let's start at the beginning with Aguascalientes 1 to 10. What would you give it?
I would give it a solid 8.
Oh, really? An 8?
Yeah.
I'm pretty low on my scores usually. That doesn't
Yeah.
mean that I didn't like it, but it takes a lot to score a 10 or a 9. Aguascalientes was really nice. I did like it. I would give it a 7.5. Possibly an 8.
All right. So I'll ask you, Cuernavaca.
Cuernavaca, I would probably say, I'd probably say a 6, only because it is hilly.
Yeah. And that's about where I'd be too, about
Yeah.
a 6.
Yeah.
Durango.
Durango is really nice. Boy, I'd probably say Durango was an 8.
Yeah,
Easy walk.
Yeah.
Easy walking.
Yeah.
Lots of things to see in Durango, lots of sites to visit. Take the
Yeah.
taxi, Uber, whatever.
Yeah, I would give Durango myself a solid 9.
Wow, a 9.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. You hear that, Linda? A 9.
A 9.
Yeah, it was.
However, meeting Linda and Jose was a solid 10.
Aww. And when we were there, it ended up hailing like
Yeah,
crazy.
Crazy hailstorm.
It was wild. It was really wild. You have to watch that video. Did we put a clip in there on that one?
We did a short of it.
Oh,
But
there's
it
a
was,
short.
yeah, it hailed like crazy, and 10 minutes later it was warm and sunny again.
Well, I don't know about 10 minutes, but some of the streets were pretty flooded out when we
Yeah,
walked
they
back
were.
to our Airbnb.
They were.
Okay, Hidalgo?
I like the state in general. I would give it a solid 8.
7.5, maybe an 8 with a lot of these different places like Tolatongo. Tolatongo is a must. It's expensive,
Yeah, I know.
but it's a must. It's one of those things that you have to do at least once if you're in the state of Hidalgo.
Yeah, it's you won't regret it. Tolantongo was just an amazing experience. Out of a scale of 1 to 10, I'd give Tolantongo like a 12.
Yeah,
I mean,
I would too. And the river was much nicer.
yeah. But I will say, don't do a day trip to Tolantongo because you won't have time to really take it all in. We were there
Yeah.
for
Two.
two plus days,
Yeah.
and I think that was a good amount of time. We saw and experienced pretty much everything we
Yeah,
wanted to
I
do.
think so too. The restaurants, we weren't impressed.
Yeah, that's
There were
the
several
downside.
restaurants, a little store that's there too. But okay, so getting back on track here. All right, so what would you I said about a 7.5, I think. Maybe an 8 because there are a lot of places that you could venture off to.
Yeah.
We also went to Tula. Or
That's true.
wasn't it Tula that we went to for the day?
Yeah,
Yeah.
to the archaeological
Yeah.
reserve, which is another must-do if you're going to be in Hidalgo, because that was amazing
Right,
as well.
right. You would either need to Uber it, taxi it, or use a car to get to some of these places for sure, if you're not driving yourself,
Yeah,
because they're a little bit out from the center.
especially Tolantongo, because there isn't really a bus that goes directly there. I think most people drive their own vehicles, or you have to take a tour bus.
There was a bus, but it
Yeah,
would
but-
take forever, I think,
Yeah.
to get there. So, and the thing is with Tolatongo, you want to get there as early as you can because there's no reservations. So
For the
you want to be
hotels.
like first come, first serve for a hotel.
Yeah.
And there's cabins there too, we found out,
Yeah.
which is very cool. Or if you don't mind camping, you can camp there also, wherever you want to. You
Yeah.
can camp by the, what do you call those? Like those hot pools or whatever that were there, those mineral baths
The
or
mineral baths, yeah, thermal pools.
that are by the hotels, or you can camp down by the river like a lot of people were doing. But yeah, I think for Tolatongo and places that we visited in Hidalgo, I'd have to move it to an 8.
Uh-huh.
Gonna go with
so
an
you
8.
talked yourself into a higher score.
Yeah,
Okay.
I did. Morelia.
Morelia, that was our first stopping point, and we did live there for a year. Like you said, I thought Morelia was a beautiful city. Maybe it didn't get a fair shake because we always knew that we were going to move on from there.
Yeah, maybe.
But I think most people that visit there seem to really love it. And so, again, I would probably give it about a 7.5. Okay, so what would you give Morelia?
Morelia, I would probably give it an 8.
Yeah, okay.
You know, and again, we lived there for a year.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a good.
I think driving in Morelia was a little more difficult than driving around here in San Luis Potosi for me.
Yeah,
The streets were narrower and
yeah.
I don't know.
So, Puebla.
Puebla. Puebla. Boy, oh boy. I'd say 8.5, possibly a 9.
Yeah, Puebla's a tough one for me because I would give it like a 12 out of 10.
Oh,
but
wow.
then I subtract the volcanoes from that equation and then we're down to about maybe a 9 out of 10 or possibly an 8 out of 10.
Now, when we were in Puebla, we also stayed in Cholula.
Right. We were there for a few days.
Yeah, Cholula I think you could probably do in 2 days.
Yeah.
And then what was the other? Jalisco?
We went to a very cool town about 45 minutes outside of Puebla called Jalisco.
Jalisco.
It was a small town, very easy to walk around and very beautiful too, but small and kind of compact.
One of our subscribers that stopped by San Luis Potosi, we had dinner with them one night.
And yeah, they were on their way to Jalisco.
Yeah, they were going to be moving there. So.
Yeah.
Okay, San Luis Potosi. What would we rate it? A 4.
Not. She left off the 1 in front of the 4. San Luis Potosi is a solid 10 for me.
Yeah.
I mean,
we really like it. It's a great
really
central
like it here,
location too.
Yeah.
It's a great central location in Mexico.
Like everywhere else, it's got its ups and downs. I mean, we hear a lot of dogs barking during the day. There's a lot of construction going on currently.
But that's where we're at.
Where we live, that's where we're at. But, you know.
Yeah, that's where we live.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we do have a lot of barking dogs.
But you walk around Central Historical and some of the outlying areas and realize what a beautiful city it is and how really fortunate we are to be able to call this San Luis Potosi home.
Okay, Zacatecas.
Well, you didn't give your rating on San Luis.
A 10.
Okay.
I mean, we live here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Zacatecas, at the time we visited, I would have probably given it a solid 9.
Wow.
Because I thought it was just, again, a beautiful city.
See, I thought Aguascalientes. I liked Aguascalientes better
more, right? Whereas
than Zacatecas.
I was probably the other way around on that.
Oh, really? So you like Zacatecas more than Aguascalientes?
At the time, I would say that the danger threat in Zacatecas would drop that farther down the list for me currently.
Unfortunately, that's some things that happen in Mexico where they tell you that areas aren't the greatest to go to at this time. Stay away from if you can.
Yeah, but it's no different really than some of the areas that we, around the Sacramento area as an example, like Del Paso and places like that. They were kind of dangerous places to live too, but, all right.
Well, that's it, I think.
That's a wrap.
Yeah, did I rate Zacatecas?
I don't know. Why don't you?
You gave it a solid 9.
Yeah.
I'd probably give Zacatecas a 7.5, only because there was a lot of hills, but it was a very cool place to visit for sure. And again, all of these places I don't think are on the expat radar. Will they be one day? Maybe. I don't know.
Posible.
Yeah, posible. Anyhow, why don't you guys leave us comments below if you visited any of these places, or leave us comments below on if you want us to do more videos like this that give our opinions of places that we visited and how we rate them, stuff like that.
Right. And again, these are all places we visited. We're not going to, we're not doing places like Puerto Vallarta and other places like that because we haven't been there, so we can't give you our first-hand experience.
That's right. We've been to 17 states, and we can only comment on those.
Yeah.
So if you like these videos that we're doing, talking about the areas that we visited, let us know. And like I said, all of these places we do have videos on. from when we started out. Some maybe not so good because we were just starting out and we had different equipment. But yeah.
And I'll leave links to each of the videos.
Oh, you could do that?
Yeah, in the description.
Okay.
So.
All right.
All right.
So as always, from the two travelers in Mexico.
What she did.
Bye, guys.
Bye.